Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that we have more than 1,000 new subscribers in the last month, and that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. Over 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 90 days. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, January 21st, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is support of the 11 pillars of the LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. Our magazine, events, television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 anchors will host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Alex Morash. Alex has written for The Advocate and served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine. He has also served as media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Alex, A Sounds of Universal Love, Soul, featuring LeNora, Jaye, is coming to the Pride Center. Tell us all about it.
Sure. Soul is a creative collective experience of seasoned and experienced musicians who have made a positive impact in the South Florida music scene by playing top-quality music ranging from jazz, R&B, soul classics, neo-soul, to world fusion. They'll be performing with local legend LeNora, Jaye at the Pride Center on January 25th, starting at 7 p.m. Tickets include free parking and 2 drinks, and are available at pridecenterflorida.org.
Well, I know LeNora, Jaye is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And great music and supporting the Pride Center, I assume.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it's going to be a really fun time.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Pride Center on January 25th. Now, let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. Born in Hong Kong and giving us an international perspective, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Bobby, the Stonewall Museum is hosting an exhibit by Ben Fink through February. Tell us all about it.
Fantastic. Well, Ben Fink, a world-renowned photographer, presents his Imperial Sun Court of All Florida exhibition, which will run through the end of February and feature the opulence of the Imperial Court and its history. The exhibit is free to view, and more details can be found at stonewallmuseum.org. Now, I am not very familiar with the Imperial Court stuff, but it sounds, one, it's at the Stonewall Museum, which we should all support as members of the community. And second, it's fun to try out new things. And third, I like art.
Oh, yeah. I just was telling him earlier, we have to go see the exhibit at some point.
No, Stonewall always brings amazing exhibits. They're actually going to be joining Hollywood Pride with some exhibits, bringing some things to us as well. But I tell everyone I know who comes to the area to check them out because, again, it's something unique that we have here in South Florida.
And it's literally right there, right on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Ben Fink exhibit through February 28th at the Stonewall Museum.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Jeff Oliverio. He is a financial advisor and certified planner with Truist Wealth in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff is one of the founders and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ Plus Council. Jeff, My Hollywood Pride is returning January 26th, this Saturday, I believe. This Sunday. Tell me what's happening.
Well, we are thrilled to announce that the 4th annual My Hollywood Pride Street Festival is back and better than ever with our theme for this year, which is Keep It 100. Hope you join us with the festivities on January 26, 2025 from 1 to 7 p.m. and we are back home in downtown Hollywood. I'm, really excited. This is a big week for us, not only with the festival, which will be on Sunday. We have a few more lead-up events. Friday night, we have a networking event that will be held at the Sunset Club on the rooftop from 5 to 7 p.m., business networking. And Saturday night, we're doing queer comedy night. So we're going to have 4 queer comedians that are coming to Cinema Paradiso in downtown. And then 1 to 7 p.m. all day in downtown Hollywood, hosted by none other than our own Faye Watt and Craig Stevens of WSVN. We have an amazing featured performer closing the show, Vikina. She's a Latin EDM Grammy nominee this year, who's signed on Pitbull's record label, who will be doing the closing act. So go to myhollywoodpride.com, get lots of information, check out our Facebook or social media pages, Instagram for updates.
And this is the first Pride of the year, correct? Like not just Florida, but nationally.
We are the first Pride anywhere in the world that we've researched. So that is certainly one of our monikers.
Yeah, the Sydney of Pride, man.
Here. Pride starts here.
And I just have to, it's amazing that you're taking time like ahead of Pride to come say hi to everyone. I have no idea how you do it.
And also for anyone who's concerned about parking, downtown Hollywood has plenty of parking spots and not going to be a problem with any kind of transportation.
Yes, lots of good parking, and I always tell everyone, Uber or Lyft or whatever other rideshare service you like, because then you can partake in some imbibing during the event if you'd like. So, and lots of great food, the restaurants downtown. So support our local businesses, and we have a lot of great food trucks coming as well. So save your appetite.
I can't wait. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at My Hollywood Pride on January 26th.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up trans rights. Overwhelming first hours celebrity response to Trump's inaugural America policy on 2 genders. Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States yesterday. During his inauguration speech, he doubled down on the anti-transgender rhetoric he has become known for. During the speech, he said, quote, "As of today, it will be henceforth the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female," end quote. Many celebrities and notable people joined the LGBTQ community in expressing their horror at the remarks. GLAAD posted a video of the comment, and many notable people chimed in with comments. RuPaul's Drag Race judge Michelle Visage wrote, quote, "You will not erase my child, you POS." End quote. Cynthia Lee Fontaine added her opinion saying, "Trash, but we will continue to ensure that we continue with our rights. We will not be silent," end quote. Trump signed an executive order last night enforcing the government recognition of only 2 genders and removing the X gender option on passports or other government documents. I mean, all we can say is it's starting. It's going to be fast and furious, and he's doing exactly what he said. So to all of our friends and allies that stated, they were voting for Trump because they wanted lower taxes or they wanted cheaper eggs or, they felt that the country was going in the wrong direction. But yet, a lot of that was rhetoric. The rhetoric is real. And people are losing their rights and they're going to continue to lose their rights. And the fight is just begun. So it is day one. So I just say to everybody out there, take a breath and take a pause. And, our community has fought back against things and knows how to fight. And that will be the rallying cry. And I think it's going to wake a lot of people up who maybe didn't go out and vote.
I mean, he even wanted to change the Constitution. He's literally trying to overturn the 14th Amendment by saying that Americans have no birthright citizenship, which has been this way since the 14th Amendment was ratified over...
Yeah.
How many years?
I know. I doubt he's going to succeed in overturning the 14th Amendment. That would be a whole big thing.
Yeah.
The thing that I do think about with this is twofold. On the one hand, I look at, the Democrats were in power. They could have passed legislation so that a president couldn't just do this on a whim. Like, they had the votes. They decided not to do that. And I view that as a huge letdown, not just on this, but on abortion as well. I also then look at Trump, and I don't even like saying the name because he's a narcissist. He wants us to react. He's going to do horrible things no matter what we do.
Absolutely.
And we have to start finding ways to not mention him while still combating the awful. Do you know what I mean? Because if we can find ways to not say his name, drive them through the roof.
Yeah,
those
definitely.
types. That's the only way to really deal with a guy like that.
I just think we have to be really sensitive also to realize, the three of us are sitting here and as of yesterday, none of my rights were taken away, fortunately. So we have to really rally our community, the other letters of the alphabet, to stand up for our trans and gender nonconforming siblings that are out there who are literally on the front lines and are losing their rights. Healthcare, of course, is going to be another issue that they're going to be facing. If you can't get a passport, that makes you a second-class citizen. So there's just so many things that I think it's hard to process it all in one day. But we just have to make sure that we're there to support those of our community.
He already repealed part of the ACA that says that, can assist more than 10 to 12 million Americans to get their health care. Healthcare got more expensive immediately after he took office. What happened to, our drive down cost of living? None of that. It's all going to be a lie, every single word of it.
He wants you to be obsessed about talking about him instead of talking about the way that trans people are going to be affected, instead of talking about the actual cost of living. And you have to find ways to talk about our community and what we're facing without finding ways to stroke his ego. Because for him, he's the Nero of our times, honestly.
Absolutely.
Caligula is more like it.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up politics. DeSantis appoints anti-LGBTQ Ashley Moody as Florida's new senator. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has found a replacement for the Senate seat vacated by Marco Rubio in Ashley Moody. Moody was previously the state's attorney general and had a record of anti-LGBTQ remarks. DeSantis cited one of her policies in his reasoning, stating, quote, she sued the Biden administration to prevent brutal transgender surgeries on these minor kids, end quote. Medical experts, including the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics, have emphasized that gender-affirming care is evidence-based, medically necessary, and supported by every major medical and mental health association in the United States. She also was part of the lawsuit that successfully fought President Biden's Title IX protections of transgender students in athletics. In a statement made during the lawsuit, she said, quote, the idea that young girls can now legally be forced to undress in the same room with males is what is supposed to be a safe space, like a locker room, that a young woman could be randomly assigned a roommate that is a biological male with no say over the matter, or that biological men would be eligible for women's scholarships is ludicrous, end quote. She also launched an investigation of Starbucks, claiming the company's DEI program constituted employee discrimination and, quote, a race-based quota system, end quote. Ashley Moody has a really long record of not just anti-LGBTQ activities, but also anti-democracy activities. When I was at the Florida Dems, she was always trying to stop a gun control ballot initiative. And, I remember having to write a speech about her, DeSantis, and Petronas for the chair, and I call them the axis of corruption in it. And I think that still holds today with the three of them. She has no respect for democracy, neither does DeSantis, and we're going to see that when she's a U.S. senator.
And Marco Rubio actually miraculously got unanimously confirmed by the Senate, but more or less he is the best of a bunch of bad apples. seriously.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for those out there in the regular world that doesn't live in Florida, yes, we do have a factory that produces awful people. So we just released some of them onto you, and now the country's attorney general is going to come from the state of Florida. So now we've replaced. It's like cutting off the head and then two grow who are worse. Now we have Ashley Moody to deal with on top of Ron DeSantis. So she's going to go to the Senate, and we're going to have Ashley Moody going to the Senate, really as a holding space for Ron DeSantis to take that.
Yeah.
And when the election comes up,
he's term limited, right? Yeah.
Yes, he will be done. For those that live here in Broward County specifically, and especially where I live, we were once represented by a Democrat, Hillary Cassell, as our state representative, who has now switched to the Republican Party, and has since claimed to still have support for the LGBTQ community. So I'm hoping we're going to see a comment from Representative Cassell about Ashley Moody becoming our state senator, to see if she's supportive of that role and of her policies. So we'll just wait and see.
Now, so many Democrats in Florida have switched last minute, and some people have asked me about it, and then someone was jealous of them. There's a certain constituency of elected cowards in Florida, and we're seeing that unfold right now with that elected official and a few others. There's a rumor a U.S. senator might switch parties, not from Florida, but elsewhere, and I'm just like, the Democratic spine continues to show its feebleness.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, you mean Fetterman?
No, he said he wouldn't be him.
Oh, boy. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer, nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up entertainment. Chasten Buttigieg sneak peek of new kids' book, Papa's Coming Home. Chasten Buttigieg, the husband of former Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, has announced the release of his newest book. After releasing his memoir, I Have Something to Tell You, and its young adult version, he decided to write something aimed at younger audiences. On Saturday, Chasten revealed Papa's Coming Home on his Blue Sky and Instagram, saying on his Instagram post, quote, I wrote this book because I wanted to have another story with a family that looked like mine. I hope every family finds something to love in this story. It's a story about unconditional love. It's just a dad getting his kids ready to go to the airport to pick up their papa, end quote. His Blue Sky post states, quote, Papa's Coming Home debuts May 20th, just in time for Father's Day. Families of all types can pre-order the book at chastenwrites.com. Chasten, I actually got to meet him when he did a book signing here in South Florida for his young adult version of his book. And, again, telling our own stories about families that look like ours and actually look like mine, which I have a 16-year-old son, is really important. And, I hope we see more of it. And, we know that Pete is not going to be someone that's going to walk into the sunset. So we're rooting for you, Pete, to, be one of the leaders for the future.
And also, I'm pretty sure this book just went straight to the banned book list on Ron DeSantis. Well, doesn't even need to be published.
First and foremost, I'm shocked to learn that you're old enough to have a 16-year-old son, Jeff. No, lie. But no, I think Chasten and Mayor Pete, or former Secretary Pete, have always been a wonderful couple in the queer community of representation. Sounds like a lovely book. Personally, on Chasten's social media, I tend to look for his shirtless photos of Mayor Pete. That's always fun when he's running, and I'm like, yeah, come on, girl, we want to see that too. So, but it sounds like a great book.
Some water.
Pete, call him. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I am Dr. Bobby Huen, and let's queer up gay culture. New study considers if gay and straight men dream differently. A trio of scientists in Germany sought to find out if dreams were different depending on sexuality. The study, recently published in the Journal of Homosexuality, sought to find out if gay men and straight men had similar dreaming habits. For example, do gay or straight people experience more nightmares or erotic dreams? The study states, quote, although numerous individual factors influencing dream content have been explored, research on the link between sexual orientation and dreaming remains limited. end quote. They polled 119 German-speaking men, 55 gay and 65 straight, about their waking life, sexuality, and dreams. The results find that all the men polled had similar dream patterns. Researchers noted, quote, the main difference in dream content were that homosexual men report more sexual dreams, a higher ratio of male to female dream characters, and more romantic relationships with men, end quote. And with all due respect to these scientists who publish in peer-reviewed journals, may I offer the word duh. I mean, look, the frequency of dreams and dreaming patterns probably are likely to be similar due to the fact that we just all sleep. I mean, as REM sleep, that's when we dream. But I think that also depends on for example, right now I'm on medication for depression and anxiety, and I dream differently. Once I'm on these medications compared to before. I have some really weirdly detailed dreams. And when it comes to romance or even sexual dreams, as a gay man, you focus on men. Obviously, there will never be a woman in my dream for that. So.
I thought the sample size was too small.
Very.
On my day job, I'm a director of research for a restaurant worker rights group, and I do a lot of worker surveys, and I've done 2 LGBTQ surveys, each with over 300 LGBTQ people were surveyed. So I look at I won't allow my staff to publish anything with less than 100 people of that particular subgroup being surveyed, because anything less than that, you get really shaky data.
Less than 120, you're really looking qualitative data versus quantitative data.
It was less than 100 straight men, less than 100 gay men. I'm like, you can find more than 100 gay men in Germany? Goodness.
Just go to Berlin.
Yeah. Well, and I also, sexuality is a spectrum. So you also wonder, again, being completely straight or completely gay, whatever those terms may mean to each person, how that impacts their dreams. Because again, the fluidity of sexuality is also, I would like to know more about that, but that wasn't seem to be referenced in this story. However, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Dr. Bob Yun, and let's queer up gay culture. International Mr. Leather and Tom of Finland Foundation rocked by Nazi controversy. International Mr. Leather, also known as IML, the world's largest leather competition and event, recently removed Dirk Donner from its panel of judges. The removal was announced on Facebook following outcry after photos of Donner wearing Nazi regalia began circulating online. In a post, IML Executive Director Derek Ronenberg wrote, quote, I've been trying to write a post that isn't angry, but I am angry, very angry. New information that came to me this morning regarding one of IML judges clearly indicates he is not fit to be part of our organization. Hate has no place at IML, period, full stop. Anyone who wears hate-based imagery or symbols, whether Nazi regalia or a fucking MAGA hat, has no place at the table, no voice in the conversation, and can fuck right off, end quote. Donner was the co-founder of the Tom of Finland Foundation and the organization's president. He posted on Facebook that he has turned in his letter of resignation to TOFF's board of directors and that it had been accepted. Edward Seller, CEO of the TOFF, released a statement saying, quote, this decision comes in response of actions on his part, including the use of offensive symbols and insensitive comments, acting on his own accord and without our knowledge. These actions are in direct conflict with the Foundation's unwavering commitment to inclusivity, equality, and respect. The Foundation will never tolerate hate while we work to preserve the legacy of Tom of Finland's artwork and support emerging LGBTQ artists and their creative freedom of expression, end quote. Well, for those who are not familiar with vintage gay stuff, Tom of Finland was quite a successful, at least in that niche of gay art. He specialized in hyper-masculine drawings and the depiction of the leather lifestyle in a very sexually exaggerated way. So think like Playboy bunnies, but for men, for gay men specifically. So the thing is that always the fact that he has these regalia on is really, really insensitive, especially in this current year, in this type, the hate is coming. We really don't need to adopt like Proud Boy symbol on the on the outfits. Put that away.
Yeah. I don't know which year everything was posted. Some of it I think is from 2016, so I don't know if he was posting this more recently. Some of the imagery I looked at, I was like, I'll be honest, I would have known it in public, but like a swastika, I was like, come on, man, like it's a swastika, what's going on?
The comment, and again, I'm just using this for the sake of conversation, of saying, I do not equate the swastika with a MAGA hat. And I think we need to be very clear that those are two very different things. As much as we may or may not support what someone who's wearing a MAGA hat, I think putting them in the same category is discounting what the Nazi symbol and what history has represented versus what the MAGA hat has not represented a genocide of a people. So, and so I do think we have to be careful in this environment that we're in, that we're not equating and falling into traps by doing things like that. Like if we're against anti-Semitism and against Nazi symbols, then let's be against anti-Semitism. There's no reason to bring the MAGA hat into this conversation, in my opinion.
The one thing that I thought was the closest thing I can get to a positive in this story, which is not the person accused. They from at least what I read in the Out magazine article, they apologized and resigned. There was no fuss, which to me I found interesting because, like, as some know, like when I was at Options magazine, I would report frequently on NSC 131, the Nazi militia in New England. People forget that there's actually very large, and like Nazis are not that nice. Yeah. I was like, this guy, I don't know what drove him to think that it was a bright idea to put a swastika on, but I appreciate that he at least was not acting like a real Nazi. He didn't do it, he wasn't nasty, he didn't try and do any of the stuff. Like, I've dealt with reporting on Nazis throwing bricks at people, Nazis that scream that I'm a pedophile in my face. This was, tragically, at least it wasn't that confrontational.
And I think the reason is because he was the co-founder of that foundation, and he was very close. If I remember, he was personal friends with the late Tom of Finland, which makes him resigning basically. He's quickly and quietly resigned in order to preserve the legacy of the foundation and make sure that Tom of Finland did not get tainted by that particular controversy.
And what I found interesting reading and hearing many of the posts and comments, apparently this was like a known problem in the LA leather community for a while, and including some of the people that came out and said stuff admitted that they'd known for a while. And I'm like, maybe the LA leather community has to have a little bit more soul searching of not just this person, but like, why did you all not say anything? I don't personally, if I saw another Mo wearing a little swastika pin, I would like, hey man, maybe you should take that pin off. Yeah. Like I know I wouldn't have recognized the other thing. Yeah.
But the leather culture is very complex, and it has like many variations, and some of them tend to look more militaristic than others. So especially it's cosplay. So,
well, I think the swastika is a big one that they shouldn't, just because like in certain countries you can't even post images of someone
in Germany. You'll get your
the fact that we put it on our news outlet means that this episode won't probably get viewed in Germany now. You know?
Oh no, you can. I think you can show it in like a news reporting capacity or historic capacity, but not as like entertainment and or thing. That's why. Like Doom, not Doom. I mean Wolf 3D. Remember the old video game Wolf 3D?
Very vaguely.
Marines shoot Nazis, killing Nazis good. but the whole thing was about like basically killing Nazis. So in the German version, they literally have to change the graphics so that they cannot show the swastika.
Yeah.
Well, more to come. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and ally community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. And remember, Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
and we need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, happening out on television network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Jeff Oliverio, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Alex Morash and Dr. Bobby Huen, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.
Night.